So we've outgrown the look of the space that we're currently in, and so we are on a mission to transform that. So we're doing a bedroom makeover. The first step in doing that is painting the walls. I already know what I want, but I'm not really sure how it's going to turn out, so I'm taking you guys along with me along the journey of us remaking our bedroom. We want things to look fancy and pretty and comfortable, but we don't have fancy and pretty and comfortable money right now. I don't have fancy and pretty and comfortable money right now, but I still feel like we deserve a space that reflects us and that is comfortable and makes us want to live in that space. So as you can see, the wall is green right now, and we're thinking of doing something like eggshell with an accent wall above the bed right there. I've never done a home makeover where I'm the primary person working on the stuff, and so I'm a little nervous, but I'm also excited. Let's see how it turns out, and I hope you enjoy the video. So this is the inspiration accent wall that we're going off of, but I'm also changing the colors and the pattern a little bit, but now the first thing I did was to take off the things that are on the wall, so my command hooks, frames. Since we're doing a whole repaint of everywhere in the room, we had to ensure that everything was off the walls and that we were literally starting with a blank canvas. Now these mirrors have been on here for like 3 years. Yeah, and so they're really on there. They're stuck on with 2-side tapes, and I wanted to be able to reuse these, and so I didn't want to do anything that would break them getting them off. The ruler actually did a great job. This is what I was looking at. It was a lot of tape, which is why it was so hard. There were some grooves and whatever. We used like a scraper thing to scrape off the excess tape. And then anywhere that had bumps or gaps or tears in the wall, and we went over with this wall filler repair potty thingy. We put it on, spread it with a palette knife, got it pretty thin, and then allowed it to dry. It didn't take too long since the holes aren't very deep. And after a few minutes, we were able to paint over it so that we would have a flat paint that didn't show that there was something underneath before. And then of course we had to go over with some painter's tape to tape over any socket or any light switches, doorknobs, anything like that, because we were also going to paint the bedroom door and the closet door. So yeah, just started painting. All these supplies that I got for the painting I got from the dollar store, and at this point is when I realized that it wasn't really rolling, and I got some help to kind of fix it, but it still wasn't really rolling the way I wanted it to roll, but it did the job. That's all I have to say. Maybe if I got a more expensive one then it would have worked better, but honestly, no complaints. Now, in the true spirit of making this budget friendly and trying to save as much, we're using things that we already have, like the paint colors that we already have, and we're just kind of tweaking it the way that we can. Anything else that we need, we try to find the cheapest option, which is why we did Dollarama. Now, the first layer that we're putting on here is kind of like an off-white color that we're using as a primer instead of actually buying primer. We just did a whole layer of that. This is me adding it to the doors because, as I said, it's an off-white. You can see the difference when I'm painting. And this is me trying to figure out what the structure of everything that I'm going to do is, because at this point I still don't have it fully figured out yet. Did the closet door so that it would blend in well, and then this is the entire first coat of white, well, off-white, that is now our prime. We opened the windows even though it was snowing and cold outside so that it would dry faster, and we went and had breakfast. The other 3 walls were painted in eggshell, which I don't think is super important to show here because it's just a layer of paint, but this part I decided to like sketch out whatever painting design I wanted using the painter's tape, and I'm using green and not like white or any color like that so that it's easier for me to see. Now I'm freehanding this, which if I'm doing this again I probably wouldn't do. I would probably use a ruler and maybe a pencil to like draw straight lines and whatever, because you can see it's not perfect, but honestly it wasn't as serious for me while doing it, and it turned out pretty great in the end. The parts that looked too wobbly, too like slanted or not too straight, then I fixed those parts, but the other parts I can see now looking at the video that they weren't perfect, but I just continued with it anyways. I kept looking back at the inspirational picture that I had, but I'm also adding some other things just based on my own creativity, and I kept like stepping back to see it as a full image, because when you're so close you can't really see if a line is straight or if the pattern looks good from afar, if that makes sense. So yeah, you can see what I'm doing at the bottom. At this point I decided to add some smaller lines so that I could incorporate black, because I was just going to use shades of gray. But then this is what happened. I thought we had black paint, and we did have black paint, but the two black paints that we have, one was chalkboard paint and the other one was oil paint, which I couldn't use. You know what I'm using here? Acrylic paint from the dollar store. I paid like $1 for this, and I'm like, I'm gonna use it because paint is paint and I don't think it's gonna strip or be weird, and as long as it's not toxic, then I'm fine with that. So I added just a few spots with black because I didn't want it to be too dark, and then using that same black acrylic, I mixed it with some of the white, well, most of the white from the base paint, the base layer that we did, to get shades of gray. So I'm doing one dark shade of gray, a light shade of gray. This is me just adding some splotches around the place to see like what it would look like when I put the colors together, to see, do I want to put this gray beside this black, or do I want to do whatever. So I did black, 2 shades of gray as you can see here, and then I did white. Now remember I said that the prime that we did was like an off-white, and so I got a true white so that you could actually see the difference and it wasn't too close to the light gray that we were using. I hope that makes sense, but you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Honestly, I'm in love with this. I honestly love the fact that we were able to pull this off just using our skills and a few things from the dollar store, but we also got some use out of some old paint that we had and we repurposed it. This is the most satisfying part. Like, look at this. Oh my gosh. And yes, I know that line wasn't straight, and a part of me wanted to keep those white lines because it's kind of looking cute, but if you know me, you know I'm gonna add the little extras. So I added the gold. This gold tape I got from Shein like a few years ago, but never actually used all of it, and so I decided to use it for this project, and I'm so happy that I had it, to be honest, because I don't know what I would have done. Anyways, this is the final. There was a small part at the side, at the right hand side, that didn't have enough gold tape, and so I had to order again, as you can see right there, but it doesn't really show that much when I put the bedside table back, and I also need a line at the top. But I'm so happy that this came out so great, and it just feels so much more like us, and it feels grown, it feels adult, it feels bougie. I love a good accent wall in any part of a house. I just feel like it brings the whole place together, adds a little personality, adds a little uniqueness and creativity. Let me know if this is something you would try for your own bedroom or another room in your house. But until next time, just remember to do something today that will help you to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. Bye y'all.